Right here in the front, Kip.
Kip Coons for Press Box View. Jeremy, as the veteran on this team, what lesson have you tried to impart to all the new guys about getting ready for the NCAA tournament?
I mean, yes, really, it's a new season, and not to worry about any other game but what we have to do on Thursday. So just locking in on one game at a time, not looking ahead, around 32 or Sweet 16 like that, just keeping the main thing, and we'll be good.
Right there.
Evan Abrams from Spectrum News 1. Jeremy, how do you kind of get the team to focus up and keep the mentality of, it's a 5-12 matchup, a lot of history in those games, just focusing on the game itself?
Yeah. Like I said before, keeping the main thing, not worried about what we did in the ACC tournament or how we've been playing before. Just got to keep it going, do what we've been doing, don't try to change anything up, just stay locked in.
Right here.
Matt Rochelle, the Orlando Sentinel. This is for Jeremy and Kyle. How do you guys, when mentioned to talk about the matchup, the 5-12 matchup, do you guys talk about seeds as players? Do you care about what the seeding is, these type of matchups are?
I mean, obviously during the selection show, we talked about it real quick after, we saw our seedings and things like that. But I mean, now looking at it, there's no control in that. Can't really, what's done is done. Can't really say anything, criticize if we feel like we should have been somewhere else or anything like that. We just got to go out there, play our butts off, and get the win.
Evan again from Spectrum News 1. This one's for Kyle. How do you kind of, as Jeremy mentioned, focus on one game at a time when you have such a nice run going on, a 9-game win streak, you're ACC tournament MVP, ACC champions, 16-0 at home in Cameron? How do you kind of forget about all the accolades, all the accomplishments, and just kind of start fresh?
Because we realize now that it's a one-game season, and if you don't win the one game ahead of you, then you're not going to play another one. So just recognizing that and realizing everything that we've done is in the past. We got to focus on this one day at a time now before we can move on, and that's the main goal.
Cody Taylor, USA Today. Kyle, you mentioned that win streak. Just what did you guys see? What did you see change during that stretch to allow you guys to go on that run?
Yeah, I think it was definitely part of our mentality. I mean, we got some disappointing losses before that, and that kind of also gave us a little kick in our butt. But just going in every game with a mindset and mentality to, don't underestimate any team. We got to go out there, be desperate to win, because no one's still betting on us, and we got to bet on ourselves.
Nathan Thompson, Fox 23 in Tulsa. This is for Kyle. You guys, obviously one of the blue bloods of college basketball, taking on a smaller college. Does it help, I guess, with motivation for you guys that this is the team that upset Ohio State and made it to the Sweet 16 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, I mean, they do have some returning players from that Sweet 16 run, and we got to be prepared for that. But obviously that was a couple years ago, and they did a lot of different things and good things this season as well. So we just got to be ready for whatever's thrown at us. And I mean, even though we're a blue blood, we still got to come in with that dog mentality, because people still aren't believing in us and our full capabilities.
You heard about ORU before 2 years ago?
Yeah, I have. I've been aware of them.
This is for Jeremy. Jason Beatty with the Orlando Sentinel. You're here at the Magic facility. Paulo Banchero was part of the team last year. But have you been watching him in the NBA, and how has he kind of helped you guys? If you've talked with him at all or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, been watching him all season. I mean, he's been killing, doing his thing. And obviously, he's been coming back, showing support, texting me on the side, always showing love to Duke. But I mean, that's the brotherhood. I mean, obviously he went off to the NBA, but I mean, they still have that connection with us. They still love us. They still want us to win. So it's the best of both worlds.
Thank you.
Nathan Thompson of Fox 23 in Tulsa. This is for Jeremy. Jeremy, how would you describe Max Asmus's game? What do you think about him as a player?
He's a great player. I think he tested the waters either last year or the year before, the Sweet 16 run. Great player, deep range, one of the best guards in the country, can score like anybody in the country. But we just have to make it tough for him. I think our length will kind of bother him a little bit, but just be physical with him all game. And I mean, we know he's gonna get some buckets, but I mean, we just got to make it as tough as we can for him.
To the corner.
David Shimei with Duke Radio. Derek, this question's for you. Coach has talked the last couple of weeks about you being such a vocal leader on the floor. Have you been that way your whole life, or is that something you've been working on this year?
That's definitely been something I've been working on, just at the end of high school and just stepping into college. Just being able to be, just to add that defensive factor is something I've just been trying to emphasize as just being just part of my role.
Right here in the middle.
Dan Hawk, KOTV, and the Blitz 1170 in Tulsa. Facing an ORU team, someone that you've never faced before, I guess this is for all three of you. You guys kind of mentioned the fact that you've seen him on the national stage before, but what kind of does that present, knowing that you don't have no history with them and, it's win or go home time for you guys?
I mean, it's really like we're really taking it one game at a time. I mean, they don't really have that much scout on us. I mean, we don't have that much scout on them. So, just locking in. It's man on man now. So like every team's desperate. We know they're desperate. We're desperate. It's a one-game season, like Kyle said, and we just got to go out there and impose our will.
Cody Taylor, USA Today. Jeremy, you talked about Paolo previously. What can you share from the conversations you had with him on the advice that maybe he's given you for this run or even just throughout the season?
Yeah, just staying locked in. I mean, he already knows what it takes. We made it to the Final Four last year, so he knows what the tournament throws at you. But just staying locked in for all the games and taking it one game at a time. That's the big thing.
Kip.
Yeah, Kip Coons, Press Box View. Derek, the last nine-game winning streak, big reason for that turnaround has been the defense. What have you seen got better in that stretch?
I really think physicality has just gotten better overall. I think we've been able to take physicality from other teams, being able to not get locked off our line or being able to just take physicality in the paint and outside the three and being able to just throw the first punch, being able to come out in the first 4 minutes and just to try to punch them in the mouth first so that they get knocked back is something that we've been trying to focus on.
Additional questions for the student athletes? Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. Jon Scheyer.
Well, first of all, for us, it's an honor to be here. Never take for granted playing the NCAA tournament. It was exciting for our team to figure out finally where we were going, who we were going to play. We have a lot of respect for Oral Roberts. We know they're a great team who's been here before. And, for us, it's been last 24 hours just trying to get here and get settled, get a feel for what the tournament is all about, and obviously lock into the game plan and what we have to do versus these guys because we know how good they are. But excited to be here. Happy to answer any questions as we get going.
Right here in the middle.
Matt Marshall, the Orlando Sentinel. John, I want to ask, the 5-12 matchup has a lot of mystique around it. A lot of people look for those kind of upsets. What do you guys have to do to kind of avoid that, and why do you think that's kind of a difficult spot to be in the tournament?
Well, it's funny. I talked to our team really right after we found out what our seeding was, who we were playing, and where we're going. You're going to see a lot of opinions, predictions, and I've been on both ends of the spectrum. Where one, they pick you to win the whole thing, or they pick you to win, where that doesn't happen, or it's the opposite, where nobody thinks you have a chance. Or I remember in 2010 we were the number 1 seed, and everybody said we were the first number 1 seed that would be knocked out when we ended up winning the whole thing. Really, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what's happened before. Any seed in the history of the tournament is lost. So nobody's safe going into this. You can't take anything for granted, and you have to just focus on one game. And we know when you get a 12 seed, I think a lot of the time you have a champion. Oral Roberts they're the champions of their league, regular season and tournament. They haven't lost since January 9th. They're used to winning. So, for us, it's regardless of who you were going to play, but especially with them, we know how good they are and what a challenge it's going to be.
Coach Evan Abramson, Coach Evan Abramson, Spectrum News 1. Can you talk a little bit about how Tyrese's ability on the court has opened up the play for Jeremy Roach and just how much easier it's become the last few weeks to play when he's out there handling the ball? Yeah,
well, I'm really proud of both of those guys. They've grown throughout the whole season. Tyrese is, we threw him into the fire early on in the season, and he's just such a competitor. I love how his defense has just developed. He's been ready to shoot, his offensive game. And then really him and Jeremy have developed a close bond. And their strengths of how Jeremy can get in the paint and attack, they can both really shoot. But they've developed a great bond with that. They're really, any of our great teams here have had two guards on the court at once. And those two guys have been that. I think they've done a great job, especially during the ACC tournament, at playing off one another. Jeremy's initiated the offense some. Tyrese is doing it a lot. But then knowing how to pick their spots and get each other going. And so Tyrese has been that guy, and I know he's excited playing this, and he's not afraid of these moments.
John, Conor O'Gara with Saturday Road. I remember being a kid in the suburbs of Chicago in high school and not believing the headline of 21 points in 75 seconds, which your guys don't even really fully know about. What do you remember about that day?
What suburb? I'm just curious.
Buffalo Grove.
Okay. We played them a couple times.
My brother guarded you, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
We won. I know that. I don't know how he did against me.
I think you dropped like 30 on
all right. It's just so he remembers we won. But I remember, it's crazy, I remember losing, actually. That was one of the most disappointed I've ever been, one of the most disappointing games I've ever been a part of, because we had won, I want to say it was 35 straight going into that game, 24 the year before. We were 11-0 that year, and we were down by 13, and my instincts, I just wanted to win the game. And we cut it to 3 times in that final minute, and I remember fouling out and just crying. And after the game, I was like, nobody wanted to be around me, because I was so upset we lost. And that's what it's always been about for me. I was surprised the next day, the news about it. And if you were to tell me that day, I would still be asked about it. What is it now? 17 years later, I would have been pretty surprised about it then. But hopefully it just shows the will that I have to win, and have always had. That's what it's always been about for me.
Coach Mike Piocchi, Orlando Sentinel. The portal's been open a couple days. I think there's almost 1,000 players in it in basketball. I can't imagine that coaches like this turnover. What's your opinion of the portal? Is it good or bad for the game?
Well, one, we haven't, as a staff, talked about the portal one time yet. We've been completely locked into what we're doing now. And, I'm always in favor of players having choices. I also know there's something to be said for having continuity. And for us, I'm not going to speak to, other schools and, decisions that are made, but for us, that's been something that's really important. We value, and we'll get to that after the season. But right now, we're focused on Oral Roberts, and fortunately, we have a game to play instead of thinking about that.
Kate Rogerson from ABC 11. Coach, curious if there's the similarities or differences between coming to the big dance as a player and now coming as a coach, the excitement, the nerves.
Yeah.
Take it away.
It's I don't know that I feel different. It's, I think, I've been fortunate now. I think this is number 12 that I've been a part of. And each time it's so special. It's something I will never, ever take for granted. And so I'm as excited as could be for our guys. I know they feel that way, and no matter what, whether it's we have some guys who won't be here next year, and They can go on to have long NBA careers, but there's only one March Madness. There's only one NCAA tournament. And I just promised myself, as I made this transition to being a head coach, just to be in the moment fully this whole year. And that's when things weren't as good as I wanted them to be. That's when we were playing great, and that's, in preparation for any game you want to play really well in. And so right now, just being in the moment with our guys, controlling what you can control and locking into what you actually have to do out on the court, because the rest of it really doesn't matter end of the day if you're not ready to play.
Dan Hawk with KOTV and the Blitz 1170 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When you looked at the film of Max Abmas where he can score at so many different levels, even half court at sometimes, how do you stop a guy like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you stop Abe Smith. He's, I think he's been around long enough where everybody understands what a special scorer that he is. I mean, he's a great college guard, and he's going to have a chance to play beyond college as well. But he's a guy you have to be really disciplined with. You want to make it as tough as you can on him, understanding he's going to hit some shots. Like he has deep range. He's an automatic free throw shooter. His passing is much improved. So I don't think it's about stopping him. I think it's about just being disciplined and making life as difficult as possible on him. We have really good individual defenders, but it can't be just one guy. And the thing I think that gets overlooked with their team is the players they have around them. You can't just key in on them because they have other guys that can knock down shots, and they have great spacing and movement. They know how to play. So a lot of respect for their offense and what they do. But, of course, he's a special player.
Nathan Thompson at Fox 23 in Tulsa. Coach, you talked about how much respect you have for ORU. Does it help, hammer that home with the players because they so recently had that deep NCAA tournament run and 4 of the top 6 players are back from that team? Yeah,
well, it's a matchup right away where the name, and there's a respect level there. So sometimes, even though a team is really good, you may not know them, and you need to do more explaining. There's such a respect that our guys have for them right away. We're understanding what they've done 2 years ago, having a core group back, adding more players from that team, the record that they have, the winning streak that they have been on. So very quickly, I think our guys felt and see what a tough game it is. And so it wasn't about convincing them of anything other than the game plan of here's how we're going to beat them, just like they're going to set out and say the same thing for them. It's no different from any of these other games we prepared for, whether it's in the ACC tournament or down the stretch here, really focusing on what we can control and understanding it's going to be a really confident group and a team that's really explosive on the offensive end.
2 minutes remaining.
Kip Coons, Press Box View. John, this 9-game winning streak, you've really picked up on defense, and I'm just wondering how big a factor has a healthy Derek Lively been in that improved defense?
Derek has changed our whole team. I mean, it's not just the last 9 games. I think really probably halfway through the season, he hit another gear of understanding, one, how good he can be, but also just the impact he can make in college, because he's going to, as his career goes along, he's going to continue to add things to his game and be such a difference maker. But his ability to protect the rim, to move his feet, to defend on the perimeter is a huge skill for us. I mean, we're very lucky to have him. He changes the whole dynamic of our defense. And he has plays where he doesn't even get a stat or a block shot, but he's just out there and he makes you think about him. And not to mention his motor and just how he moves, his competitiveness. I'm really proud of what he's done, and he's had a great year for us.
Hey, John, Alex Walker with WFTV, Channel 9 here in Orlando. I know Wendell Carter and Paolo Banchero are really excited that you get to play in their building when they're out west. What communication have you had with those two about this building, Orlando, and just the excitement about Duke being in their city?
Well, actually, I FaceTimed them today. They didn't answer yet, so they're either sleeping or ignoring my call. I hope it's not ignoring my call. But I was able to come down here in the fall to see them and just to see what they've done and I know Paulo last night had 27 in a loss and had a great game, but those are two of my all-time favorite guys. They're as talented as anybody that have come through here, but also they're as coachable as can be and great guys off the court. So I'm a Magic fan because of them, I can tell you that much, and hopefully we have some good vibes and good memories in their city while we're here.
Final question for Coach Scheyer.
Coach Evan, again, I'm assuming your parents will be here to watch this. It's your first time being a head coach in the NCAA tournament. What does it mean to you having them here, if they will be here to watch this game, and after they've watched you as a player, watch you coach at Cameron and here?
Yeah, no, their support for me since I've been a little kid. I mean, my mom and dad have taken me every part of Chicago, every part of the country for me to follow and pursue my dreams, and they've done the same thing for me being a head coach. I know they're living and dying with every play, and they've been incredibly supportive, and they're everything to me. My wife, my kids will be here as well, and I think a lot of our families are here, as they should be. It's the tournament, but I love them obviously, and I can't even speak to the level of dedication that they've given me since I've been a young kid to pursue a dream, and so very thankful for them.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you all.